Lights are on. Good morning, people. Good morning, people. It's 9:30. I think we should start. Please settle down, everybody. Yeah. I call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods. What happened, Eva?
Pardon? What happened? I fell.
Oh, are you okay?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hope you feel better. Okay, a small distraction, but let's carry on. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. It's just past 9:30, 9:31, and meeting is called to order. Well, it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Is Director Kelsall here?
Yes.
Please, could you lead us in the... Please rise, all who can.
Repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to remove the agenda item 10B, the committee assignment. We need to revise some of them.
Okay.
So with the removal of that, I'd like to move.
Okay. Madam Vice President, did you have something to...
No, I was going to approve it until you decided.
Okay.
It's in the apple cart.
All right. So can we move on?
Just for clarification, are we moving it to unfinished business? You guys can discuss it further.
Well,
Yes.
you will. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping us on track. Otherwise, we'd miss it.
All right, I move that we accept the agenda as modified.
Okay, thank you. Second, anybody? Okay, Carmen, second. If there is no other objection, then the agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes. We have 3 minutes, set of 3 minutes.
I move that we accept
Okay.
the minutes as presented.
John and
Jeannie.
Jeannie.
I'm Jeannie.
I had
Jeannie
a
and
blank
John.
space in my head.
I did that all the time.
Sorry. If there's no objection, then it is approved. Okay, report of the chair. Okay, I have a few basic things to mention. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The last month, we talked about safety, especially speeding in the parking lot, in home with cooking, money, etc. This month may want to touch on the disaster preparedness. You will be hearing a lot of it on TV, in emails, town halls, and so on. So be ready. We are going to touch on that, which needs to be addressed. Also, there will be a new committee that will be working on it, and it will be a combination of the GRF, United, and the Third, which would be really a good way to deal with it, and most likely it might even have mutual 50. I don't know if there's any decision made on that or not. So be ready. Disaster preparedness this month, a lot of it. I also want to wish and congratulate one of our past GRF directors, Marie Collins, for earning an award and being featured in the last week's Globe. If you haven't read anything, please pick up a last week's Globe and read about it. Yesterday, I got a little email about the theft of copper pipes in the United and my empathy to all the residents who suffered and had a little hard time without any water. I think our staff is working on it to get them back to normal, and I don't have any more information to share with you, but I hope it will all work out, and they will catch the perpetrators and take care of them. As always, have fun. Recreation puts on great shows, and so do many clubs. So with that, let's move on to our business and have a great time, everybody. And let's work hard, but not too hard, but get it done. Okay, moving forward. Do we have the representative from the city, Mr. Macon, here? Hi, Chris. Good to see
Gather
you.
everyone is not here to see me today, so I will try to.
No, that wasn't thought that way.
Yeah, well,
We sold the tickets, Chris, that you didn't have.
okay.
So-
Well, I didn't know I was the headliner, so I've come woefully unprepared. But good to see everyone this morning.
Good to see you too.
We appreciate the opportunity to speak to you quarterly. I do want to recognize that we have our mayor, Annie McCary, in the audience, and also our mayor pro tem, Pearlie, with us today.
Wow.
So I wanted to touch on a couple of things. I've talked to some other groups about these, but wanted to make sure everybody gets the same information. Starting with our wildlife feeding ordinance, I'll talk a little bit about our commercial objective design standards project, and then kind of make a pitch since it's tax time for our free document shredding service. Next slide. So you've heard me talk about this a couple of times before, but as we've been tackling the broader coyote issue, and particularly as we've been interacting with California Department of Fish and Wildlife and the United States Department of Agriculture, one of the resounding messages is that feeding wildlife is often well-intentioned, but in every case a bad idea. And so there are a lot of reasons for that. You've probably seen these next couple of slides on TV6 or on Channel 3, but there are a lot of reasons why feeding wildlife is a bad idea. It draws wildlife closer. A lot of wildlife carry diseases that can be transmitted, particularly from fleas to humans. Those include typhus, plague, all sorts of scary things that none of us want to have to deal with. And then next slide. But the root of the issue is that when people are feeding wildlife, they believe that they're doing something positive for those, squirrels or possums or birds, whatever it may be. One thing leads to another. So you have the food chain issue that, something eventually eats what you're feeding. But those animals, just taken in and of themselves, don't need your diet, right? They don't need the things that we eat. They need a wild diet. They are wild animals. And so lots and lots of reasons why feeding wildlife is illegal. It's already illegal at the state level. The city has had a prohibition for a number of years on this matter as well. The city council in March adopted a expanded ordinance. It actually takes effect next Friday. So you'll be seeing some increased enforcement, but also publicity starting next week. And it broadly prohibits anything that provides sustenance for wild animals. And there's a couple of examples on the screen. It generally falls into a couple of buckets. There's, of course, direct feeding, which is prohibited. And I want to emphasize that direct feeding does include throwing bread to birds. It includes throwing nuts to squirrels, things that happen fairly regularly in this community and in all communities, with, again, the thought being that something eventually eats those animals, and at a minimum, it attracts those animals closer to human areas, which attracts the predators that prey on them as well. Leaving food out is another one. Some of you have heard the story I tell often of a couple of years ago, a resident down by Aliso Creek leaving a tray of lasagna down by the creek. That's one of the more outrageous examples, but there are lots of examples on a really far too routine basis of residents leaving soup bones in curbs and gutters, leaving prepared food outside, leaving loaves of bread, in some cases actually going to the grocery store and purchasing or otherwise obtaining some of the like near spoiled foods and leaving those out in the neighborhood, placing dog food, cat food outdoors when they themselves have no dogs or cats. All of those would be prohibited by this ordinance. The ordinance does not prohibit bird feeders as a rule, but it does prohibit poorly maintained bird feeders. So if a bird feeder is attracting rats, it's prohibited. If a bird feeder has an accumulation of seeds underneath that does not suggest that the owner of that bird feeder has made a reasonable attempt to keep it clean, then that's prohibited as well. And then fallen or decaying fruit. I know that the boards have had some discussions around fruit trees, but from the city's perspective, if there's an accumulation of fruit under the tree, if there's rotting or decaying fruit on the tree, that would be a violation of the ordinance as well. So, like I said, you'll see some enforcement picking up next week once this takes effect. We would encourage anyone who has knowledge of these types of activities to reach out to the city or reach out to Laguna Beach Animal Services, whichever number you happen to have handy, and we'll make sure somebody gets out there for that. Also wanted to talk about our commercial objective design standards project briefly. So one of the city's primary functions is to exercise land use control over development that occurs inside the boundaries of Laguna Woods. Objective design standards are most frequently seen with respect to residential housing projects, but the City Council has had us embark on a process to develop standards for new and redeveloped commercial properties. I like this particular way of describing it, so I wouldn't normally read off of the slide, but I want to read this for everybody's benefit. Objective design standards are clear, measurable rules that guide how new buildings should look and fit in the community. They cover things like height, roof type, materials, windows, and landscaping, ensuring consistent and predictable decisions. Unlike subjective review, these standards don't rely on personal opinions. They give residents and builders clearer expectations, fewer surprises, and a fair approval process while protecting Laguna Woods' character and visual quality. So this wouldn't apply to properties within the gates of Laguna Woods Village. With respect to Laguna Woods Village property, the only building that would actually fall subject to commercial objective design standards is this building because it is located in a commercial center. But it wouldn't be triggered until something significant was done to the building. We're still trying to figure out what those triggers are, but in general, it would be triggered in most cities by an expansion of square footage, a tear down rebuild like you've seen with some of the properties at Moulton and El Toro. Larger scale things. It wouldn't prevent maintenance, repainting, replacing windows, any of that. So why are we doing this? One is to guide future construction and renovation, again, applying only to commercial buildings. So looking around this shopping center, there's a good cross-section of hotels, restaurants, office spaces. It would apply to those type of buildings when they're redeveloped. And then we also wanted to focus on some areas that are particularly important to Laguna Woods, including accessibility and lighting. The overarching theme of this project, though, is to make sure that the development that occurs in Laguna Woods looks and feels how the residents of Laguna Woods want it to look and feel. So along those lines, we've gone through a process. There's been a couple of public meetings, including a community workshop that had pretty good attendance, where we went through all of the different architectural styles currently found in Laguna Woods and identified what residents seem to like the most so that we could then target the design standards to that sort of architectural style. So what we have come up with is that there seems to be a preference for a mission revival type architectural style, and there's an image on the screen there of Village Greens, which is an example of that mission revival style. But with some interest in blending Spanish revival elements. The picture on the right there is Laguna Hills City Hall, just down El Toro. Generally a little bit more ornate style than Mission Revival, but something that's founded in the image on the left, but allowed to incorporate some of the more ornate or interesting styles found in Spanish Revival. Next slide. So this process is ongoing. If there are residents who are interested in participating in the process, I have a couple of suggestions. One is that there was a City Council meeting on February 24th. If you go back and watch the video for that, our consultant did a pretty extensive presentation. Council had an opportunity to weigh in. It's a good kind of primer for the subject. There's going to be a public review period in the next couple of months, so I would encourage you to look out for that, and if you're interested, submit comments. And email notifications can be provided for all of these. If you go to our website, that blue button is on the homepage. Click on that, you'll find a link underneath that for the Commercial Design Standards project. And then just wrapping up real quickly, like I said, it's tax time, it's property tax time, good opportunity to get rid of sensitive documents laying around your house. Just a reminder that the city does provide a free shredding service to residents. Residents can make appointments either by calling City Hall or visiting our website. When they come in for those appointments, they feed their documents to be shredded into locked containers. The locked containers are then picked up by a shredding company certified by the National Association for Information Destruction. They're shredded in their truck a little bit later. So if anybody has anything they want to get rid of, you can certainly buy a shredder, you can certainly pay for a shredding service, or you can use the city's free drop-off service at City Hall. We take appointments about 2 weeks in advance. They usually book up a couple of days ahead of time, so if it's something you're interested in, get on the calendar and please take advantage of it, absolutely free of charge. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions about any of that or anything else the city is doing, but if not, I thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Chris.
I do have a question.
Yes, sure.
Very excited about the architectural standards. First of all, thank you so much, Chris, for your work, your dedication to helping us with our coyote issues. This man has worked tirelessly with us, with the mutuals. He knows more about coyotes than I'll ever know. And I'm sure that more than he ever wants to know.
That's definitely true. That latter.
Number one, so thank you on behalf of all of us. Number two is on the architectural standards. Are those, that's not, those aren't being enforced yet, correct? It's still a
Correct.
work in process.
Yes, they're still a work in process.
Okay, because I heard a lot of pushback on the Shell station up here on the corner and the lack of design direction, and I didn't know whether or not that had gone through that gauntlet or not, and apparently it hadn't.
No,
Okay.
so we expect these standards to be adopted probably sometime this summer, and then they would take effect immediately thereafter.
Okay, thank you very much for taking that on.
Yes.
Is the shredding just a specific window of time, or is it year-long?
It's year-round. Yeah, we do it every day of the week, year-round. You just have to book an appointment ahead of time.
It's really easy. I use it all the time, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much for organizing it. The previous program was really painstaking.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank
All
you,
right.
Chris.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
See you
Take
soon.
care.
Okay, thank you.
Chris.
Okay. Next is the CEO's report. Shawan?
Thank you, President Vada. I wanted to start off with a follow-up on the copper pipe theft in United. All the buildings have been restored, with the exception of one laundry room. So that's very good
Fabulous.
news, and our thanks to staff. And on that same note, I'd like to begin with some more good news. Resident Services made history one day during the week of March 16th. They answered all telephone calls that came into Resident Services, 312 calls, answered 100% of them, and no callbacks were needed. And they had a great month with 95% answer rate. And this reflects not only a commitment to employee training, but adequate staffing as well. So I want to congratulate them on that. It's also my privilege to tout the accomplishments of our VMS communications team. In 2025, they issued 1.2 million emails to residents informing them of things that are happening in our community. This had a 50.6% open rate, which is about 2 times the national average, and a 13% click-through rate, which is well above industry benchmarks as well. There were 396,000 website users in 2025 and more than 1.8 million page views. Website traffic increased 20% over the prior year. So I think our hats off to communications and the job they did in redesigning our village website. With the April mailing going out to our members soon, I wanted to take this opportunity to encourage residents to receive future mailings electronically. The mandated November and April mailings cost about $8 per member for postage and printing, and currently 4,200 of our members have opted for electronic delivery. On the next slide, members may update their preferred delivery method by using the form that is in the April and November 2026 mailings with their preferences for delivery, or by emailing your preference with a valid email address to information@vmsinc.org. If 12,000 Manners were to subscribe to electronic delivery, it would save almost $100,000 annually. With the warm, dry weather upon us, I wanted to remind residents about being wildfire ready. We encourage residents to know where the fire extinguishers are and how to use them, learn how to safely shut off gas, electricity, and water, prepare a go bag with food, water, medications, cash, flashlight, first aid, clothes, documents, pet supplies, and so forth. Create a wildfire action plan, knowing where you are going to go if there's a wildfire, meeting points, pet arrangements, family communications plan, etc. For more tips, please visit fire.ca.gov/prepare. We encourage all of our residents to stay alert with Alert OC. Again, Alert OC is the county's mass notification system and the official source for real-time updates from the Orange County Fire Authority. And this is available at ocgov.com. The OC Fire Authority also provides fire updates. You can visit ocfa.org or follow OCFA on social media. And for statewide fire information, you can visit fire.ca.gov/incidents. To supplement countywide updates, VMS uses the Everbridge notification system to share brief community-specific alerts when needed. Everbridge messages may include urgent local instructions or reinforce guidance from county agencies. To sign up, click Sign Up Today under the Everbridge icon at the bottom of any page on the website, or register via the resident portal. And if any of our residents have heart or lung problems, they can find air quality alert information at aqmd.gov. And this would be helpful during times of wildfires. And there are also other tips on that page. Mosquito season is also underway. Some fast facts that the Vector Control District encourages us to share. Mosquitoes need water to breed. Just 5 to 7 days is enough to complete their life cycle. Most mosquitoes come from small backyard sources, bird baths, buckets, plant saucers, and so on. Only female mosquitoes bite, and their bites can transmit diseases to people, as we all know. There are 2 prevalent types of mosquitoes in Southern California. On the next slide, please. Coleus.
We had a moment up here.
Coleus mosquitoes breed in gutters, ponds, and green pools. They're active dusk and dawn. And then the Aedes mosquitoes, otherwise known as the ankle biters, breed in small containers, plant saucers, buckets, etc. Their eggs can survive dry conditions for years, and they're active during the day. What you can do to prevent mosquito bites: apply mosquito repellent, wear repellent clothing, wear long sleeves, long pants, and lighter colored clothing. Keep doors and windows closed and properly screened. To eliminate breeding sources, dump water from plant saucers regularly, drain standing water from outdoor containers, and clean and scrub bird baths and pet bowls that are left outside weekly. Residents experiencing mosquito issues may contact the Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control District at ocvector.org. You can submit a service request and have an inspector assess potential breeding sources in your area. It is also snake season in Southern California. As you've followed the news, you've seen reports of people being bitten in Southern California, so we want to make you aware and make sure everyone is prepared. You want to check with your veterinarian if you have a pet to confirm whether they carry rattlesnake anti-venom. In terms of prevention tips, stay on marked paths when walking outdoors. Keep dogs on a leash, especially in brushy or rocky areas. Avoid reaching into areas you cannot clearly see, and be alert in warm weather when snakes are very active. If a person is bitten, call 911 immediately. If your pet is bitten, call your veterinarian or the nearest emergency animal clinic and get the pet there as soon as possible. And that is my update this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Siobhan. Appreciate it. Stay safe. Earlier we were talking about disaster preparedness, the fires and everything. And this month you will hear a lot about that, how to stay safe. So please be aware. Thank you. Let's keep moving on. Okay, it's open forum time. It's 3 minutes per person. How many people do we have on your list?
We have, I believe, 7 in person and 1 email that I'll read.
Okay, so we can still keep that 3 minutes per person. Would you like to read that paragraph for me? The one number 8 says.
Let me see. Yes. At this time, members only may address the Board of Directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this Board of Directors. The Board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recording by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. Members can attend the meeting by joining via the Zoom link or call 1-669-900-6833 or email meeting@vms.org to have your message read during the open forum. And the first speaker is Catherine Bryans.
Good morning. I'm Catherine Bryans, as was said. I'm here to represent the History Center of Laguna Woods and give you a little further information. Laguna Woods Village is the very first community based on residents' long-term requirements rather than being simply marketed to buyers for immediate desires. Ross Cortese and the Rossmore Corporation finished his development of Leisure World in Sail Beach, wanting more information, so he commissioned a study of retirees from the University of Southern California. Their report impressed him so much that he donated $4 million, in over $60 million in today's dollars, to permanently endow the chair, creating the very first gerontology school in the United States. Originally was named the Rossmore Cortese Institute. I think it's under Andrus now. Every retirement community built after ours has been based on that academic study of gerontology, and more specifically based on residents' needs. This means our community was the very first, and hence a game changer worldwide. Accordingly, researchers from around the world have used the History Center's archives, and the importance of our archives have increased over the years. Like most history organizations around the U.S., sadly, the History Center has insufficient funds to hire full-time or even part-time professional staff with educational backgrounds in public history, methodology, and archival storage procedures. So local history is left to concerned and committed amateur volunteers like myself. Nevertheless, we aspire to maintain professional standards, so we pay for a professional training for interested volunteers through the American Association of State and Local History. Our physical archives and collections are certifiable by those standards. Since 2014, our Board of Trustees has committed further by retaining professional history consultants to facilitate our all-volunteer amateur approach. We are not funded by anything through assessments. Originally, when the building was built, it was built by donation, and there were some excess funds which went into endowment, and that's basically what we live on. That and donors and having people take the forethought to put us in their wills and trust, and we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Juanita Skillman.
Good morning, all. I'm here with your March library stats. Volunteers worked 714 hours supporting 2,106 residents who visited the library in March. This is not counting the use of our little free library on the patio outside our front door, which is open 24/7 and gets tremendous use. It always amazes me when I leave on a day and there's filled shelves and I come back the next morning and they're empty. People put whole collections of like National Geographics from 10 years ago and they're gone before you can even see. We also put out the used newspapers. We keep newspapers that are current. We keep them 3 days worth at the front desk, and then we put them out on the patio, and they go like that. So we have our honor system for our puzzles and our paperbacks. Now, this means that they are not checked out. They are not cataloged. You take them, you can have up to 5 or 6 at a time, and we count them when they come back. So we do have an idea of how many go out, but they're counted when they come back. And so 2,529 items actually circulated through our front desk this last month. 32 residents were added to our circulation system in March. Your resident card, oh, that's not mine, is your library card, but it does need to be registered through our system. We are not hooked up to the mainframe here in any way. When you come in, it takes just a few minutes the first time that you are in to register your card, and after that, your resident card is your library card. And we really feel that we can service the community better if everybody who is interested will register. We have a lot of people who just use our paperbacks and puzzles, and therefore they don't feel they need to register in our system since they don't physically check them out during the from the front desk. So it's a plea. Anybody who uses the library, please get into our system, just in case you see a book that you really want to take out while you're there. It saves time and effort. We, in the library, are always getting in new books. We have a committee that orders new books every single month, and we invite you to come in and look at our new shelves. They are separated, and you'll see what is new and good and something for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Juanita.
Next speaker is David Nielsen.
Hello, everyone. This is about vacation long-term parking. We've been a member here since 2011, and want to know where we should park our car when we're gone. We travel a lot and vacation, so it was like 6, sometimes even 7 months away. We have 2 cars, like most people in the village. Some have 3, some have 4. So we think there should be someplace safe to park our cars other than our cul-de-sacs. And I don't know if this has been addressed before, but something we should talk about. Now, we've been doing this since 2011, and we let security know so they don't tow our car. And I haven't had any problems until the last couple of years. And now I've been getting calls from the watch commander telling me that I really shouldn't park my car in the cul-de-sac. I should park it out on the street. I don't think the street is safe to park your car because we all know they get hit. And so that's not really an option for me, especially if it gets hit and I'm out of the country. What am I supposed to do then? So maybe you can steer me in the right direction here, which way to go with this. The watch commander has told me that. Whoa.
It's okay. Sorry. Your car is being towed.
All right. My problem solved. Thank you, everybody. It's just, he's told me that maybe over by the library, there's that big empty lot. Might be a safe place. He wouldn't have a problem with parking cars there long term. I don't know. Maybe you guys can come up with something for us. I know I'm not the only one because I see him out there, cobwebs draping down because we walk every morning. So anyway, thank you all.
We'll reach out to you. Does the staff have your phone number?
Yeah, we can.
Yep,
Okay.
Yeah.
we have his
Okay.
contact information.
Awesome. All right. We have a solution for you.
Next speaker is Marie Collins.
Good morning. First, I want to thank City Manager Meekum for bringing us the information that the City Council passed that resolution about the preferred style. I want you to think about the city of Santa Fe passed such a resolution more than 100 years ago, and they have such a distinct personality. We have the same, and it's been going on, but to actually have the City Council pass that as a resolution, I'm personally very appreciative. The other thing I want to talk to you about is our reserves. They are the trust reserves. As directors on this board, you are aware that you have a fiduciary duty as a director, but higher than that, you have a fiduciary duty as a trustee. Under the law, there is no higher duty than to serve as a trustee of a trust. So what I would ask is that on each, kind of like a prayer, on each decision that you make, this is all that I would ask, is that you decide, since our reserves are in the condition they're in for a little while because of a need that we had last year, just decide if I make a decision on this, because you're all individually responsible, if I make a decision on this, is this a need for right now, or is this something we can put off till later, till we get these reserves built back up? That's my only request. Thank you.
Next speaker is Pete Colt.
Who?
Pete Colt.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Pete.
Morning. So, hi, everybody. First of all, I get what Chris was saying about zoonotic diseases. I was in the veterinary corps in the military. I also get the thing about mosquitoes because I was helping a tribe in Zanutuchin, Colombia, and I caught malaria there. So make sure you don't have any water around the house. I'm here today to talk about coyotes, okay? I think I'm taking a different perspective, though, from what I've been hearing from everybody. Back in July, it was the town hall, and the Orange County Register reported on it. And here's what they said about that. First of all, If any of us in this room were bitten by a coyote, what would we do? We'd go to a hospital, we'd get a rabies shot, right? We'd get treated for a wound, and this would be called a confirmed attack. What should happen if an animal, any animal, bites a human being? What should happen to that animal? Should it be put down? Should nothing happen to it? And the reason I'm asking you this is the register said that the animal control officer, Lauren Elliott, from the Laguna Beach Police Department stated that in the past 2 decades, in Laguna Woods Village, there's been only one confirmed coyote attack on a human. By comparison, she noted, each year, 40 people in this area are bitten by dogs. So, and I also want to ask, is it irony or poetic justice that by the time the condo or the co-op that's owned by a 55-year-old, the tree is felled and that almost everybody in this room is going to be dead by the time the last fruit tree is cut down? The coyotes are going to have the last laugh, and it's a good thing that they're not actually laughing hyenas. I've seen multiple dog owners recently with 20-foot leashes. We had company come over Easter Sunday. He had a 20-foot leash. I said to his wife and him, you know what? 6 feet's the limit in this city, and it's to protect your dog. Make sure that you get rid of that leash. Now let's talk compassion. Mortgage rates, the cost of gas, cost of food. We have people in our village, we have neighbors and friends who are single income, low income, fixed income. This is devastating them. Some of these people rely on their ability to grow tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. We should be compassionate. We should think of these people and their needs, especially now, because, to me, it seems that we have these crises over and over and over again. Realtors now are going to have to tell people who want to buy in our village, oh, see that tree that you like, that you've fallen in love with? The moment you sign that paper, we're going to cut that tree down. How many people do you think are going to say, oh, I want that tree. I'm not going to live in Laguna Woods Village. And then the realtor's going to say, you can't plant something here to feed yourself. We bought here thinking we could have what we had in our old home. We had a garden with flowers and fruit trees and things like this. We can't do this anymore here. Frankly, if we came today to buy in Laguna Woods Village, we wouldn't, because we want to have the freedoms we had before. And I'm sorry I ran out of time. Thanks, you guys. I'm really happy that you're all here. You, Ms. Foster, I always enjoy seeing you on Channel 6. Hey, Bob.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Doug Gibson.
Good morning, 5289. A few warm fuzzies. Nice to see the training's working on out. I had 2 personal experiences in the last couple of weeks. I happened to meet a neighbor over here outside and was having trouble with her locking on in to get on that. And so I stopped her, we talked, and I said, maybe I can help you. Tried to, and I couldn't work the darn thing. So I looked over, and James Ray was over, as he is, like that. So I asked him to come on over. And he went through the maneuvers and everything else. Anyway, eventually he found where we could set the appointment on up and everything else along those lines. And then he said, I don't think I can help you with that one. Maybe you should sign up and stay. So I stayed with her for about 10 minutes. We came up to the front, and we then dealt with another one. So James Ray was on that. And then the other day I was at a meeting, and I left some paperwork around on Allison Hinson or something like that. She noticed that my paperwork had left, and she recognized my name. She called me when I got on home, and she said, I think you left some paperwork. And this is something that's beyond the call of normal duty. I hustled on over here, got this paperwork, which if I'd lost would have caused all kinds of problems. Uber, apparently several years ago, was going to redo the way that they access our gates. We at gate 11 have a temporary gate at 13. One of my neighbors has a relative that comes on in periodically, and she comes from the airport and then leaves from here. When she calls up Uber, Uber goes to gate 13, which there's nothing there that would indicate that there's an open in that area. The second time that this happened, she almost missed her flight. And I don't know, I thought that was taken care of several years ago. Maybe it's existing in other areas on that. So I'd just like to bring that to your attention. If they're having to redo something with the way that they set it on up, that would be saving some time, so one way or the other. I thought it was taken care of, but maybe not. There's a question on the gutters. My gutters or it's the homeowner's gutters. I don't know where to go on it. Some of the gutters that are homeowners' gutters are not cleaned down out. Water has a tendency to go on up in that area. So there's a major concern in our area anyway about who cleans gutters, who gutters belong to, and everything else like that. And then my last month I was here, the step out front, and we had some conversation about it's a big step for us that are having hard times getting up and down a little bit. I just wanted to readdress that too, to see, I don't see any evidence that maybe we're kind of thinking about that from the standpoint to make it a little bit easier for people to access the building from that area, at least have a little bit, some type of cushion to get into that. So thank you very much. Thank you for all your involvement.
Next speaker is Diane Phelps.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here representing the Village Community Fund, just to remind you of a couple of events that we have going on. April the 18th in Clubhouse 7, the Village Reads will present this year's Community Reads event. The book that they're addressing, we're going to be discussing and talking about, is The Instrumentalist by Harriet Constable. Doors open at 12:45. The purpose of this event is to unite everyone by encouraging everyone to read the same book, and then we'll have something in common to discuss. For more information or to reserve your $10 ticket for the event, you can email thevillagereadslwv@gmail.com. And the second is that the Camera Club has 4 amazing fundraising events planned. I'll just highlight the biggest one is Todd Gustafson, who is a master photographer and videographer. He's really well known. He's putting on something called To the Ends of the Earth, a presentation that will be held on April the 26th at Clubhouse 5. But you can, for $30, you can get just a regular ticket, or you can buy a sponsor or VIP ticket package. But all of the proceeds from what they're doing is going to go to upgrade the equipment in the photo lab so it can be modernized. And if you want for more information on them, just go to their website, cameraclublww.org. And then also please consider visiting our website, which is villagecommunityfund.org, and making a tax-deductible contribution to either these campaigns or any others. We are a 501c3 charitable organization that provides support for programs, services, and facilities that enrich the lives of older adults in Laguna Woods. If you're a club that's looking to raise money and want to work with a charitable organization, please give us a call, 949-467-1030, or email villagecommunityfund@gmail.com. We don't charge a fee. We give you 100% of the proceeds we receive. And I thank you for your time. It looks like you're going to have a long meeting.
Hope not. Thank you, Dan.
There are 2 letters I'm going to read. The first one is from Virginia Gay Page, and although this touches on some items that will be discussed later, the majority of this letter is regarding fiduciary responsibility and governance, so that's why I'm reading it here. I'm writing to express concern with the proposed supplemental appropriations that are being discussed today. While each of these expenditures may appear to be individually justifiable, collectively they reflect a concerning and recurring pattern, one in which spending continues to expand outside of the approved budget without clear defined limits, prioritization, or demonstrated restraint. When supplemental appropriations approach $900,000 in a single cycle, this is no longer routine, it's a systemic issue. This raises a fundamental governance question. Why are so many expenditures being brought forward as a supplemental allocation rather than being anticipated, planned, and incorporated into the annual budgeting process? Supplemental appropriations should be reserved for true emergencies or unforeseen circumstances, not as a parallel budgeting mechanism. As board members, you have a fiduciary responsibility to protect the financial integrity of this community. That responsibility includes not only evaluating individual expenditures, but also ensuring that budgeting practices are disciplined, transparent, and aligned with a long-term sustainability. Equally important, fiduciary duty requires the willingness to say no, particularly when spending falls outside established plans or when cumulative impact has not been fully addressed. The proposed increase of the resale transfer fee to $10,000 further compounds this concern. While it may generate additional revenue, it places a significant financial burden on future homeowners and introduces potential risk to affordability and marketability. Taken together, these actions point to a broader issue of financial discipline and governance. Therefore, I'm requesting that the board implement a temporary moratorium or non-essential supplemental spending and fee increases. This pause should be used to conduct a thorough review of current budgeting practices, including 1, clear criteria defining what qualifies as a supplemental appropriation, 2, improved forecasting to reduce reliance on mid-cycle funding requests, and 3, greater accountability in aligning expenditures with the approved budget. A measured pause is not inaction, it is responsible governance. These decisions are not isolated, they collectively define the financial future, accessibility, and integrity of this community. It's time for the board to exercise its fiduciary duty with discipline, restraint, and a clear commitment to a long-term financial stewardship. And then the last one is from Chris Collins, reporting on the Foundation of Laguna Woods. I'm here with an update on the work of the Foundation on behalf of residents who are experiencing temporary financial emergency. The possibility of wildfires has been a wake-up call. Over the past year, many of us have prepared wisely. We packed a go bag. We enrolled in OC Alert. We talked with neighbors about evacuation plans. Those steps matter. They bring peace of mind. But there is another simple step, one that can make all the difference when something sudden happens close to home. Medical emergency, accident, theft, fire, in a crisis, clear thinking is hard. Your heart pounds, your thoughts scatter. In a stressful moment, the hardest part is often knowing who to call first. If there is an immediate danger, call 911 first, always. This includes medical emergencies, accidents, crimes in progress, fires, disaster response, and any situation where someone is in imminent risk, and every minute counts. When you call 911, you reach dispatchers at the Orange County Communication Center who route your call to the fire department, paramedics, and or the Orange County Sheriff's Department as needed. The OC Sheriff's Department has served as the City of Laguna Woods contracted law enforcement agency since 1999. This matters because the Sheriff and Fire Department have training, authority, and resources that the Village Security does not, including emergency medical response coordination, crime scene investigation, missing person searches, and disaster response. In many situations, village security must contact the sheriff. Calling 911 first saves valuable time and can help prevent a situation from escalating. Call village security first at 949-580-1400 for non-emergency situations, including assistance with leaks, noise complaints, lost property, parking concerns, gate clearance issues, wellness checks, such as when a neighbor has not been seen or heard from in several days and you're concerned. For non-emergency crimes that have already occurred, such as vandalism or theft, residents should contact the sheriff's non-emergency dispatch at 949-770-6011. This message is provided by the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village as part of its Emergency Preparedness Initiative. For more information, visit foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. And that is all for open forum.
Thank you, Michaela. It's time to respond to the speakers. I would like to say thank you to Catherine Bryans, Juanita Skillman for all the good information you guys bring over, and so does Chris Collins all the time. Thank you, Diane, for everything you guys do at your foundation. Do we want to respond to any of the others individually? Yes, Jeannie?
A couple. I want a clarification, and I wanted it on the record because they raised some good questions. Number one, David Nielsen. I was under the impression that we had a long-term parking option already established for people that travel and things like that. Do we not?
We typically have security reach out to them directly, and Tom is going to reach out to Mr. Nielsen this afternoon and suggest options that would work best for him.
Do we have, and again, I thought and maybe we don't have space, but I thought the RV parking was available for overflow.
It is sometimes if there is space available. So again, the best thing is to have Tom Saviglia reach out to him
Okay.
and figure out the best option.
That did not, they wouldn't talk to us.
All right, so maybe, which committee needs to address this? This would be
SCAC, yeah.
SCAC, right? I think the beauty of retiring early in a place like this is that we do have the time and the energy and the money to go traveling. And I think it's important that we provide options other than street parking, which I agree with you, parking in the cul-de-sac, which, as we all know, parking is very tight. And we appreciate our residents and our members trying to find options that don't gum up the works for the rest of us. So I think we should be a partner in that, number one. Number two is gutters. Doug Gibson brought up the concept of gutters. I remember last year that it was a yearly cycle for gutters, and that they will willingly clean all gutters regardless of whether it's on an additional patio, because I know ours is, and they were very, very good about that. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so
But I'll have staff reach out to Doug.
okay, but just so for everybody knows, your gutters are getting cleaned once a year. The curb in front of the community center, there's a ramp, right? I mean, I don't understand if that's what that gentleman is asking. We have a huge ramp, a driveway right here in front of the community center. I'm not sure.
It's on the side, so they, instead of coming directly into the building, they would have to go a side step in on the right or the left and then come up the ramp.
Okay, so there really is no issue there.
There shouldn't be, but when the bus comes or somebody drops you off in a car, then it becomes a little difficult. So whoever's driving needs to be told, either drop me a few feet before the front or a few feet after the front.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's, like I said, there's a huge ramp up here. All right.
There's a ramp.
And
yes.
then to Virginia Page regarding supplemental appropriations, I hear you. I don't know that a moratorium is the answer, but I too am getting a little concerned with the number of supplemental appropriations that come across the committee and the board's desk. Are we not budgeting correctly would be my concern, or are costs just increasing between the time that we actually set aside the money for it? Those numbers are good, and by the time we get there, the costs have escalated so much. That situation I know to be true. But I do hear you about being fiscally responsible. Thank you.
You want to address Pete Colt also and say thank you for letting us know, and we hear him?
Fruit trees. Fruit trees, yes, it is difficult. It is. You've got people that love their fruit trees, and you have people that love their animals, and we have found that fruit trees is the beginning of the cycle that draws, as Chris so aptly said, the cycle that brings the animals that the coyotes eat. It brings them in closer, and especially when they're unattended. I think the real issue here is unattended fruit trees. So, if our fruit trees magically become attended, maybe the mutuals will relook at that. But until we learn to pick up our toys, I think no, seriously. I mean, we need to keep this stuff up off the ground because it brings the animals in closer. That's basically what this is trying to legislate against.
Lovely.
Kush?
Anybody? Yes.
I thought there was long-term parking at the PAC. One asking for a bus to come in. The folks across the hall here asked if it was going to be long-term parking or not. So I'm not sure on that, but because they asked is your bus going away for a week or two, and I said no.
Again, each resident works with security to find the best place at the time that they're going to be out of town. But again, I will bring this back to SCAC as requested by Ms. Costello.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to thank the Library and the History Center for their delightful reports, and everybody else for their thoughtful comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
One question.
Yes.
What's the scope of the issue for long-term parking? Are we talking about 5 cars? Are we talking about 50 cars? Is there any frame of reference there?
I don't have a quantity.
Okay.
But we will have all that information when it comes to committee.
Okay. My thought is we could designate a handful of spots, 2 or 3 at each of the clubhouses, maybe paint them for long-term parking, have security assign it, do something, because we got a lot of parking, it's just not always in the right spot. Like I go to Clubhouse 4 a lot, there's always spaces open there.
Well, but there's that library lot too.
Yeah.
That's for greater minds than ours. We'll let them.
We'll leave the security, what is it called, SCSE, handle that. Thank you. Anything else?
Well, regarding that, I'm the chair of the committee. Honestly, I do not know the, policy, but I will get into it, and then I'll probably go ahead and then check it, and then if anything we can do, we will, set up the policy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, if we have no other comments, then we can move on. The next item is the consent calendar. All matters listed in the consent calendar are recommended for approval at the same time. So we have number A recommendation from the Finance Committee, and B, which was the committee assignments, which we have moved to a new location, to new business, I think. So do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Okay. Mickey, any second?
Go ahead. Yvonne.
Yvonne. If there is no objection, then the consent calendar is approved. Moving on. Unfinished business, disciplinary update report. Do we have anybody from?
Yes, we do. Priscilla.
Good morning, GRF Board. I'm Blasilda, the Compliance Supervisor. This is Agenda Item 11A. And as you can see, in the month of March, our cases have increased, specifically in delinquencies and garden centers. We expect that to kind of be normal for this time of year, especially for the garden center. People are prepping to plant, so they've kind of left it inactive. The garden center staff is really good about working with the members to ensure that the GRF rules for that portion of the community is being adhered to, and if they're not, they come to us and we help push it along. And then delinquencies, again, good response. Staff is trying to work with the members to ensure that they're making payments for their golf or their broadband, and if they're not able to, they come to compliance, and then we have disciplinary hearings, and then we follow your disciplinary process. So if there's any questions for me, I'm here to answer them.
Okay.
Well, Finance Director is here, but we will check into it, the Finance Committee. But I'm wondering why the delinquency in March went up so high compared to January, February.
It's just the cases that were brought to us. This is specific usually to golf, so they have members' cards on file, and then cards just expire, and members, like, they may be on vacation and may just be coming back. And so now it's brought to us, and usually it's resolved fairly quickly.
Oh, okay. All right.
When you say cards, you mean credit cards?
Credit cards, yes.
So their method of payment has expired?
Yes.
And therefore you can't charge them? I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. All right. Thank you, Blasilda.
Thank you. Till next month.
Thank
You've
you.
done a great job. Thank you. Okay. All right. Let's keep moving on. Entertain a motion to approve combined routes of 5, 6 to Route 3. Do you want to read the whole thing, or?
Well, we have a resolution
Yes,
at our secretary.
sir?
Well,
Would
we
you like
haven't
to read?
read the resolution to move it yet, so
Yes.
wait your turn.
Shall I read the resolution?
Yes, please.
Resolution 90-26-XX, combine routes 5 and 6 into Route 3 and add Arbor Transportation Route. Whereas the General Services Department is responsible for the fixed route service, also known as Easy Rider, which provides transportation for residents through neighborhood fixed routes and commercial fixed routes. And whereas on December 3rd, 2025, the combination of bus route number 5 and bus route 6 into a single route is to be designated as Bus Route 3. This consolidation was implemented to maintain service levels while addressing staff shortages. And whereas on December 3rd, 2025, the Mobility and Vehicle Committee instructed staff to conduct a survey with fixed route riders, giving them several options to choose from. And whereas on February 4, 2026, the Mobility and Vehicles Committee reviewed the results of the surveys that showed 63% of the respondents preferred to establish Commercial Route 3 with service to the Arbor. And whereas on February 4, 2026, the Mobility and Vehicle Committee recommended the board approve permanently combining routes 5 and 6 into Route 3 and adding the new Arbor route. Now therefore be it resolved on April 7, 2026, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the combination of routes 5 and 6 into Route 3 and the addition of the Arbor route, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. The March initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied.
Okay, I call, yes?
I move to adopt.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Okay, there you go. We have a second. If there is no objection, then this is approved. And is this a 28-day or is this the final?
No, this is final.
Final.
Yeah, it'll be satisfied today. And if you
Okay.
guys can vote on the screens in front of you, that would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It seems like we have, is there somebody missing? Because I only see 6 yeses.
Bunny was on, I don't know if.
She did leave the Zoom meeting
Okay.
about 15,
Okay.
20 minutes ago.
Okay,
And we have everyone.
8, so we have, everybody's voted unanimously. So we now have a new bus route number 3. Congratulations to the maintenance, the transportation department. Thank you.
Mobility and Transportation
Mobility.
Committee, yes.
But the transportation
Yep.
department drives the buses?
Yeah, they do.
Yes, thank
And
you.
starting 4/13, they'll be driving the Arbor route.
Yes.
So come and join us.
And I've heard really good comments from the people who have been informed, and they have really enjoyed it, the whole new structure.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, going next to 12A. Entertain a motion to approve supplemental appropriation of
We have to go
We're
back
doing
to the
11C.
committee.
11C.
11C?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're updating your committee assignments.
But we
Committee
talk-
assignment,
do we want to do it now, or?
yeah. We
Okay,
moved.
I didn't know it was 11C. Thank you. Thank you for guiding me. Appreciate it. All right, so I call for a motion to approve the committee assignments.
I like to change some
No,
of the
but
names
let's have
from
a motion.
Finance Committee.
Let's have a motion first. Yes?
We have to have a,
No,
right.
Mr. President, typically the secretary reads off the changes off the resolution, then you can make a motion after that. So, for example,
Okay.
you'll read the
Do
red
it any way
line
you
stuff.
want. All right.
Are we ready?
He wants to change some things in the,
Well, first we have to
Yes,
read.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a change of Finance Committee. The Bunny Carpenter is not on there, and Yvonne Houghton, we decide that way, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I've got too much to do.
What was it?
I said I have too much to do. I'm hoping that Bunny can take over there.
No, she said you and her talked about it, and you are the one who is going to.
For that meeting.
For that meeting?
I'm sorry.
All right, so,
so we stay with the same program and,
Is that-
Well, okay, then for now, then let's leave it that way. All right. so-
Okay, leave it that way for now.
Okay.
Anybody else needed to make any changes?
Shall I read the resolution?
Yes, please.
You guys need to assign a director to the Water Conservation Committee?
Yes. No, water conservation, we did not, I did not assign anybody
that's
here.
water- that's
So
water district.
the only one that I assigned was the water district.
Right, you're right, you're right, right. I got my water districts
Yeah.
committees confused.
So, does anybody want to join the water conservation team?
Get a free lunch.
No, 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 no.
Well
The
then.
water conservation is going to be a new committee with United, Third, and GRF. So we will all participate. Currently, United has Sue Kwam, and the Third has Donna Rain Sostak. So our delegate will become the third person, and they will all perform together for all water conservation issues for Laguna Woods. So we are looking for somebody to participate in that.
Can we have one of the mutual presidents come up here and speak?
Who?
We'll have Charlie speak on this.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What we were putting together here is the Water Conservation Committee. It will have 2 people from United, 2 people from Third, and 1 from GRF. It'll be co-chaired with Sue Kwam and Donna, right? Donna. And then 1 more member from United and Third.
Okay.
So there'll be 5 people on the committee.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Does anybody want to volunteer for that committee?
I nominate John Kelsall.
Water's not that important. Yeah, it is.
You want to do it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
And it's really important.
Okay, Yvonne, thank you.
Yvonne will do it.
Thank you.
Please put her
It's
name.
not on a Friday.
As long as it's not on a Friday? Okay, I haven't, Paul and...
I believe the next meeting should be on a Thursday.
It's not on a
It's on
Friday?
Thursday.
Yeah, I think the next meeting.
Not this Thursday.
Not this Thursday, though, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The next meeting itself should be on, I believe, April 30th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Okay.
All right, thank
Very
you.
good. Water conservation is
Is
Yvonne
now
Horton.
Yvonne.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie, for your help.
Yeah. Okay.
Wasn't she the one who just said that she was too busy and didn't need any more work? I just thought she said that, right? Okay.
I know.
It's okay. But it's not that, it's about water.
But
Make
but
sure
if
you
they
have-
have it over at the water district, the meeting
No,
over there,
that's
you get free
different.
lunch.
That's
That's
different.
different.
This is a different committee, that's the point.
If you want to go there, I'll take you with me. You can drive.
You signed up too soon. Never make a move too
These
soon.
are always fun.
That's right.
This committee, you will need gumboots. Okay.
Well, maybe I can get Bunny to take it over.
Okay. Well, so I'm glad we are having fun. Okay, what else?
Is that it? Now
Is
can
that
we
it?
vote on the slate?
Yeah.
Paul, Michaela, have we answered all the questions? All
If
right.
you want, I can quickly read through the
Make-
resolution, just to make
Okay.
it easier for
All right, let's make a
Carmen.
motion.
Well, you have to, wait a minute, you have to read the resolution
I
first.
can read through it
I
quickly.
make a motion that we accept this.
Wait a minute, oh,
supplemental
Paul.
appropriation.
Okay. Paul
Let
is
Michaela read the resolution first with all the changes.
Thank you, Paul.
Just to make sure you guys are okay with these.
Wow.
Resolved April 7, 2026, that the following people are hereby appointed and ratified to serve on the committees of this corporation. There are no changes to Community Activities Committee. Finance Committee, Mickey Choi Ho is chair. And then Bunny Carpenter has been added to the committee. Martin Rosa stays as the alternate. The Information Technology Advisory Committee has no changes. The Landscape Committee, Kush Bada remains as chair. Brad Reinhardt has been changed as alternate, and then John Kelsall is a full-time committee member on landscape. Maintenance and Construction Committee has no changes. Broadband Committee has no changes. Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Jeannie Costello remains as chair. John Kelsall remains as a committee member, and then Yvonne Horton has been added as an alternate, removing Brad Reinhardt. Security and Community Access Committee, Mickey Choi Ho remains as chair, Carmen Pacello remains as a member, and John Kelsall has been added as an alternate. Disaster Preparedness Task Force, there have been a lot of changes to this committee, so there will probably be more changes moving forward. But right now we have noted that Eric Nunez is no longer co-chair, but will be acting as staff advisor. And Steve Parsons will be the chair. We have John Kelso remaining on the committee, Jeannie Costello for GRF representative, and Martin Rosas remaining as alternate. Laguna Woods traffic hearings, no changes. Select Audit Ad Hoc Committee, Jim Nadeau has been removed, Yvonne Horton has been added, and Charlie Prater from United was added. Executive Hearings Committee, no changes. Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee, no changes. Energy Ad Hoc Committee, Martin Rosa remains as chair. John Kelsall remains as a member. Kush Bada has been added, removing Brad Reinhardt. And then Mickey Choi Ho is alternate on this ad hoc committee. Land Use Ad Hoc Committee, there have been no changes. And Water Conservation Committee, we added Yvonne Horton as the one member from GRF for this committee. And then El Toro Water District, Kush Bada has been added as a representative, and Brad Reinhardt has been updated as an alternate. And that is all the updates for this committee.
One sec, before you do that, my apology that in the disaster preparedness, I had this question which I missed asking. If this is a task force as written down over here, how can we change it to being a standing committee by itself? What is the procedure for that?
I believe a charter would need to, if there already isn't if there is an existing charter, that would need to be updated. If there is not, then there would need to be a creation of a charter establishing that this no longer is a task force, but rather a committee.
Is Director Parsons here?
Yes.
Can
We'll be
you?
bringing the charter to you next month.
Okay. So at that time, we will change it to a freestanding committee instead of being a task force.
Yeah.
Okay? Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, can I give my...
Okay, yes, definitely.
I move that we accept the GRF committee appointments as amended.
Thank you.
Or as
Any
presented.
second? Anybody?
Thank
Okay, Mickey, second. If there's no objection, then I think this is approved, or do we want to vote on? Pardon? Okay, it's unanimous right now. Thank you, thank you. So the next item on our agenda is number 12A, entertain a motion to approve supplemental appropriation of $336,500 from the Facilities Reserve Fund for Building E design, plans, and specifications. Okay, here is Mr. Manuel Gomez to give us an update or brief us on what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Manuel Gomez, the Director of Maintenance and Construction, and the item before you is a recommendation from the MNC Committee and the Finance Committee, along with staff, to approve a supplemental appropriation of $336,500 to support the award of a design contract for a new Building E. There's some background in your staff report agenda packet. We provided a presentation at the MNC Committee, which was also included with the Finance Committee agenda packet. It just gives some background and some history for those board members that have not been working on this along with us. There are some board members, and certainly the GRF board as a whole has been working on this project for several years. So we're very happy to bring this to you at this stage, hopefully to be able to move along. But just by way of more recent background on this, I just want to remind the board that in September, just about 6 months ago, the corporate members did approve allocating a minimum of $4 million for the design and construction of a new Building E. In October, the Space Planning Committee, which consisted of members of the mutuals and GRF board members, recommended that the GRF board award a design contract for a new Building E. And then in December of 2025, just 3-4 months ago, this board reviewed an RFP to solicit consultant proposals for the design and authorized staff to release that RFP for proposals. So the RFP was distributed to 28 qualified engineering design firms, along with also publishing it on the Planet Bids platform. 10 consultants attended the pre-proposal meeting where they toured the facility at the maintenance yard to get a better understanding of what was being asked in the scope of work. And the proposals, which were received, I think in February, we received 4 proposals, all of which were evaluated by staff. The results of the proposals will be presented to the board, as is our practice, in closed session following this meeting. But in order to support contract award, if the board elects to do that, a supplemental appropriation in the amount referenced would be needed. And that's the item before you this morning. Happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, refresh my memory. What was the original ask? What was the original amount that we budgeted for this?
Originally, there was $7 million in the capital plan for Building E. That was defunded, I believe, in 2024, 2025.
Okay, the term, maybe I could be wrong, but a supplemental appropriation implies to me that there was an original budget amount and then this is being asked for on top of? Or is this that we're pulling it forward and pulling it out so that it wasn't, this is a non-budgeted expense that we're now asking for? Is that what we're talking about?
It is a currently unbudgeted.
There you go. Okay.
Allocation. There was a previous budget allocation of $7 million.
I remember that.
Which the board defunded.
Okay. Thank you for bringing us all up to speed.
Yes, John.
I attended the finance meeting, and I thought that it had been changed to design and construction, not just design, for the 336.
No, sir, that would not be sufficient to do the construction.
Okay.
So the plan is to do the design first. As part of that design scope of work, the architect or the engineer working with the board and staff will identify a cost estimate for a proposed building, and that revised cost estimate will come back to the board for review.
Okay, I misunderstood, and I thought it was the contract would go out for a design, and the same company would also do the construction.
I think what he understood was when we use the word design and construction, it was the drawings, the construction drawings and design of the architect's designs. So we would get both in this 336,000, correct?
We will get construction plans ready to go out to bid for construction.
Yes.
But we're not funding the construction at this time.
Correct.
I think what Director Cornell is referring to is there was a discussion at the Finance Commission about doing this as a design-build project, where we would get a contractor or then to do everything from day one. And I think we responded that that would require a much larger allocation of funding, which at this stage we're not ready to recommend.
Correct. It was architect's design and construction drawings. So that's why some words in between got lost. All right. Anybody else have any? Yes, John.
How was the 336,500 amount arrived at?
There were 4 proposals, and this was the lowest proposal cost from the highest rated consultant. So it was competitively bid.
Kush?
Yes.
Yeah, relating to that question, I mean, when you request the bids from the company for design and construction, and did you mention about the size of a project for example, $4 million, something like that, to come up with this amount of cost of $335,000. I mean, when you ask the design from the three different kind of companies, I mean, you know, that amount, in order to arrive at that amount, have you proposed the total cost of construction, the project size would be this amount, or just blind? What was the, you know, process of it?
Yeah, no, we didn't suggest the cost to the consultants. What we did is the board approved a scope of work that said we wanted a building that would house the security, landscape, and maintenance staff that is currently over in the leased offices.
Right.
And we told all the bidders, we want a price to prepare construction plans that would accommodate a building that would fit the space requirements for that many staff members. And that's all of the guidance we gave them. We didn't want to steer them in any one direction or another.
Right.
All right, any of the other board members have any? Okay, who is? I heard my name, yes.
This is for approximately a 5,000 square foot building, is that correct?
It's what's there now is approximately 5,500 square feet. We're going to ask the contractor, if it gets selected, to provide us with the most cost-effective building and footprint possible. We don't want to build any more than we need to.
And this is turnkey, right?
This is for construction plans only. A separate bid process, a separate procurement will be conducted for construction.
But the design is turnkey design. That includes HVAC and plumbing and electricity and all of that, right?
It will include all of those items, yes.
Ivan, you had something to say?
Just to
Pardon?
help out. We are, as a board, we are held to a standard, you know. We ask them to get a design, and then what am I trying to say? And then they'll come back and get us our drawings, and we're held by our own policies. That's why we're come and do this way. Get the plans, and then we'll go out for a building.
Okay.
You know, so it's our own policies. If we don't like our policies, we need to change them. If you want to do an as-built kind of thing, if I'm making myself clear. You know.
Last Thursday, a majority of the board members did a tour of the present facilities where those operations are, and it is a definite need that we need a building E. Those people are just jammed into their office space across the parking lot.
Anybody else?
I have a question. The appropriation for $336,000, does that include other options for other types of buildings, or just a build as it was previously in terms of construction?
The intent, once a consultant is selected, is to work with that firm to come up with the most cost-effective building type. So we have not predetermined whether it will be a block building similar to like a broadband, something like that, or whether it will be a wood frame building similar to what's there now, or even any other building, whether it be modular or anything like that. We need an architect and engineer to help us determine what is the most cost-effective building materials that could be used.
That's important for me. That is really important for me, what you just said.
That'll be part of the process with the consultant.
Okay. All right. I have another question. Actually, I have a request. I noticed here that the Finance Committee, in a very, very close vote, Director Fox and Prater opposed to recommend that the Board of Directors approve a supplemental appropriation. I understand that President Prater is here today.
He's hiding there.
Why did you and Howard vote no?
You're putting him on the spot.
I am, because we're being put on the spot right now
That's okay.
to move forward.
It's okay to be on the spot. First, the cost of this project, okay, $336,000 for design, just design, okay? We're not putting a shovel in the ground, okay? One other thing is this project by this board was completely shelved a couple months ago. And it was the money was taken off of the original, was everything off. And within, I think, 60 days here, we have somebody who put this back together, and said this is what we need. And there are some specifications on there that I think are questionable. I'm not an expert, so I won't go into that, okay? And both myself and the treasurer of Third, thank you. We talked about this, and we're just going, this is too much, too fast, and we've been waiting all this time, and yes, we do need it. The building that they had fell apart, and I let them know at that meeting that it fell apart because our lack of maintenance, okay? Buildings can be maintained and kept up to code. It happens every day, okay? They need space, yes, along with landscape and the other entity that's in
Damage
there.
restoration.
Pardon me?
Damage restoration.
Okay, they need space.
But that's going upstairs.
However, I looked over the RFP, and there's nothing in there about any other kind of structure except building a building. I don't see anything in here looking for cost savings. I don't see anything looking in here. It just says it's going to be a building, okay? There's no reference to anything else,
Thank you.
okay?
Okay. Now, to continue my thought, this is where I'm stuck. Yes, we need to house these very important departments for VMS, without a doubt. It is also our role, as people have pointed out, to do this from a financially responsible viewpoint. I would like to know that we have looked at all the options, that all the options have been presented to us about how we can arrive at a building, and not just the options that get us to the building that we had before. There are other options here. Have we examined them? Are we doing this? Is that part of this 300? If it is, you have my vote. If it is, we're going to build it exactly the way it was before because that's what we did before. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that we're smarter than that. I want to hear that we're making sound financial decisions from a viewpoint of experts of what is good building construction now to get to where we need at the lowest possible price. That's where you'll get my vote or you won't get my vote.
I appreciate that, but just to answer that question in particular, so the GRF board has looked at various different options. In 22, 23, they looked at a modular building. They looked at other locations. They looked at moving people around. There's been a lot of effort for alternative evaluations that have been done. That was one of the reasons why the GRF board put together the space planning committee. That group also looked at alternatives and options. At the end of the day, the board in December decided to go out to bid with an RFP for the design of a new building. What I will recommend to the board to alleviate some of these concerns is that when you discuss the potential contract, that we include in that discussion some confirmation statement that would provide the board with the level of comfort that you need, that part of the work includes working with a consultant to come up with the most cost-effective building type construction method for this building. I think if we write that into the contract, that gives the board some sense of comfort, hopefully, and you certainly have staff's commitment that will pursue it that way.
Thank you.
Into the design contract, or is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any others?
Brad's got a comment?
Brad?
I would just like to say that I will be voting no on this. I'm absolutely opposed to it. I've heard two fallacies. Number one is that we have to build a building where E was, which I don't believe our lawyer has ever told us. Everybody has an opinion on it, but I would like a legal opinion on that. Number two, I believe that if we use this building for resident services only and move staff in here and moved all of our other stuff out, we'd have adequate space. The most expensive type of building to build is an office building, and yet we've decided to build an office building when we already have one that we're using for ping pong and computer and taxes. If we used all the space in here for office space, we could build a less expensive building somewhere else and move some of the resident processes that we have in here out. I've heard the fallacy that we can't have emergency services on the third floor. There's not a single sheriff's department in Orange County that doesn't have 2 or 3 floors to it. So this is really premature. In my mind, this is a violation of our fiduciary responsibility. We don't have the money in reserves. We need to rebuild that based on our spend. There's no sense of emergency that we need to get this thing done now. I just think that this is a complete and total waste of money. Now, having said that, corporate members have already approved $4 million, the cart before the horse, before we've even designed anything. So that also is unfortunate, because once this design is done, corporate members, and God only knows who will be on the corporate member board at that point, will still have to approve the construction process. So we might spend $335,000, and a year from now have a different corporate structure that says, no, we don't want to build a $4 million building. So I don't think we've explored all of our options at all. And I think that this is, not taking into account the fact that our reserves are incredibly low right now, and they're going to get lower as we finish the Ting project. And there's no sense of urgency to get this done today or this year or even next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve? Director Hormuz?
Director Horwood.
Just to provide some reassurance on the reserves. So as part of the 30-year plan that was released as part of the 2026 Green Book, we have an estimate included for the year ending this year, 2026, to end the year with $21 million in your reserves. So based upon our most recent forecast, we anticipate landing the plane at approximately that dollar amount. But keep in mind that you are correct, that that $4 million, or whatever the dollar amount comes to be, is not included in that $21 million. We will be bringing it forward as part of the 2027 capital recommendation. So it'll be up to this board here to make a determination whether you pursue that plan as well. So again, to your point, the corporate members did recommend $4 million or above. It'll be part of the plan that we proposed from staff's perspective. From an urgency perspective, you have a reasonable location next door, right? And you can continue to use those facilities. Those rates will continue to climb, as will construction costs. So we have a ROI to the tune of between 10 and 15 years before the investment in a new building makes more sense, right? However, again, construction costs are going to go up. If this is going to be a long-term approach that you intend to continue maintaining these facilities and maintaining current service levels, long-term, it makes more sense to buy than it does to rent. So again, it's up to the board to choose the direction. I want to say with regards to have we pursued all the options, just again, on the finance end of the house, I did read all the information that's been provided by other departments. Last time I read, it was going to be $6 million to do the tenant improvements to make it readily available for security. So you're either going to get a new building for $4 million, $6 million, whatever it's going to come up to be, or you're going to make it readily available for use this building at the same price. So it's just a determination the board will need to make.
That's my concern. We've already approved $4 million, but it could ramp up from there. So it's not necessarily $6 million versus $4 million, because once we jump on this train, we're on the train, right? We're not going to put $336,000 in and go, just kidding. So and I don't know that $4 million is going to get us where we need to go. It was just, in my opinion, a number that was thrown out to appease people, to get them to vote for it. So I don't know that this is going to get us where we need to go. So I'm not convinced.
I believe that there's probably maybe a 50-50 here, I'm not sure. But I think our responsibility to the trust and to our resident members is to maintain our property to the best available information that we have, and the deck that we are dealt at this point. Across the way here, we're leasing space. It's cramped. It's unproductive, at least from my view. And we have that building E, the location, and according to our trust, we can demolish that building and rebuild it at the same spot. The water, power, everything is there. They've got tremendous amount of parking, and it's better than having all of these security vehicles in a public parking lot. I feel more comfortable having it in the place where it was before. Everyone's right, it should have been done a while back, and back to 2010 and 2014, when it was originally discussed to do that, we didn't do it. And now we're behind the 8 ball. I think the simplest way to do it, keep it in its place, tear it down, rebuild it, put the security back over there where they are out of harm's way and they can function properly outside of this building next door in this parking lot here, which is definitely not a parking lot for security vehicles, as well as the landscaping and everything else that needs to be done. So I would highly vote that we take care of this building E plan now, and I also highly recommend that we move quickly and get this building built and get our staff out of a rented facility into a place that's conducive to our village lifestyle. That's how I'll vote.
I agree with you.
Mr. Chair, yes, I agree with you. And ever since I have been attending the board meeting for years, this conversation was going on and on and on. And we visited the facility. There's no, space available for the security to have a privacy. They didn't even have a conference meeting room. And it's been a mess after we saw that. It is urgent, I believe. And also, my concern was that if we spend $336,000 appropriation right now, after that, nothing has been done, we're going to waste that one. But after Ms. Manuel presented that we're going to take advantage of whatever the amount is we spent to find the best solution in the future, right? So modular or anything within our budget, if we have that promise and that confirmation, I feel much more comfortable. And plus, last night, thank you, Mr. Wormuth, and Steve and I had a long conversation regarding the reserve fund. What is the balance right now, and what's going to be the year end? Is it feasible? Yes, we have to spend $4 million extra and whatever, but I feel much better, and I think we are going to discuss in detail in Finance Committee, next one, reserve fund, and then next year, capital plan, whatever. So now I feel much better. Since I'm a new treasurer, I did not know the in detailed information before. But last night, in order to prepare this motion to be on the, our agenda item, I studied and I feel much better. It is, of course, there might be some other project our president wants to do it. But at this time, if we really need to be careful and try to watch what the level of our, the reserve fund level, it is not bad at all. So I feel that I'm ready to vote yes for this.
Can I ask a question? How many security vehicles have been damaged being parked over here in the last 5 years? Yeah, that's my point. It's another opinion, not a fact. They're fine over here. They're not being damaged. make it up. I mean, and a reserve fund, what was it 2 years ago? 40 million? And it's going to be 21 million at the end of this Ting project? That's a substantial change. I understand that there's a review and there's an assessment, but we've taken a lot of money out of it and we haven't given it a time to recover, in my opinion.
Just to clarify, so I'll go and present that number in the Finance Committee the next time it comes up, but it's been consistent at about $20 to $25 million. So there was a report that did show it higher, so, but it was presenting, it was not removing what had already been spent under the work in progress, and that is the distinction why it may have shown a higher dollar amount previously.
Thank you.
So we have some members waiting to speak. However, we need the resolution read first and also a motion on this item as well.
I have something to say, though.
Okay.
Can I say it?
Okay, you
Okay.
first and then...
One of the things that I did want to point out that the city of Laguna Woods, they really count on us in case of emergency. And their whole program is based on a security building out in that yard. Is that not right? Oh, yes. Thank you.
Okay, are you done, or you still have?
Yeah, that's the truth.
John
Okay.
Kelsall.
Council?
Yeah, I think this is an urgent issue that we need to address now. I totally agree with Carmen that if my numbers are correct, this has been 11 years in the, more than that? But that's ridiculous. We have a need. We toured the facilities and the departments over here the other day, and we found out that there is a need that's not being filled over there, and we need to address that need. Two things. One, the cost to rent over here is going to do nothing but go up. When we at the end of the month, when we pay the rent, it's gone. We've got nothing to show for it. I think we need to look at the different types of building construction, pre-engineered buildings, et cetera, to come up with the one that is the most efficient, most effective, and and give us at least 40 years of reliable life. But the need for the departments that we're housing over here is, we're hampering them from being able to fully do their job.
I agree with all of you in all the different ways you're trying to explain, but there are still thoughts that, did you go and see them before it was, Building E was termed as not usable, where they were? They were still cramped. I was there, I went there, and I saw the way they were sitting and working. It was, the 5,500 square feet that they had was still very cramped. There was a complaint that there is no men's and women's toilet because there were women in one department and men, so there was no separate, there were no showers. So there were still complaints even though it was 5,500 square feet. So there's no guarantee that when we build the new building, there's going to be no complaints. So it's going to, in my opinion, if we want the same setup in there, we will still have complaints. You will need a 5,500 or a 6,000 square foot building only for security. So to be able to achieve that, and it doesn't have to be in that spot itself. You could, because all the basic stuff is there, the electricity, the gas or whatever, the generator, everything is there, the parking. But we still feel, at least I feel, that residents come first. If we need to build a building, we need to build one for the residents first.
Yes.
If we do that and moved all the recreation from this building out there, then you can house all your different departments up here. And if you still have security left, build a slightly smaller building over there for security. And we will have less expense for building a smaller building. So think about that part and that is my opinion. It does not have to be followed in whatever I say, but that's what I feel is the way to do it. Keep this building as the administration building, not a combined multi-use building. That is what I'm trying to say. And I've been trying to say this for more than 2 years or 3. Use this building as an administration building, so all the staff come here and go home from here. So this will be your work staff building.
I agree with you, but.
That's what we should do.
But we have the opportunity, if we have the knowledge of what those concerns and issues were.
One meeting,
One
please.
conversation,
One meeting.
please.
If we know what those issues and concerns were and are, then those should be included in the $336,000 plan to accommodate those or correct those.
So that is what we've been trying to partake to the departments, that we need a kind of a combined effort. That's my opinion.
Agreed.
And I don't know why it has not been heard so long.
Well, I think, if I may,
Paul?
So again, we need the resolution read right now. If you can.
Thank you, Paul.
thank you, Paul. I'll read the resolution.
Okay.
I will read the resolution.
Yes, please.
I'll be back.
Resolution 90-26-XX, Building E Design Plans Supplemental Appropriations Request. Whereas on December 2, 2025, the Board of Directors reviewed an RFP for the design. Excuse me.
We're going to have to separate you two.
I'm going to repeat this. Whereas on December 2, 2025, the Board of Directors reviewed an RFP for the design of a new Building E and authorized the project to go out for solicitation of consultant proposals. And whereas on March 16, 2026, the Maintenance and Construction Committee voted unanimously to recommend that the Board of Directors award a contract for Building E design plans and authorize a supplemental appropriation for $336,500 from the Facilities Reserve Fund. And whereas on April 7, 2026, the Board of Directors considered the approval of the supplemental appropriation in support of awarding a contract for Building E design plans. Now therefore be it resolved on April 7, 2026, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves a resolution approving a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $336,500 from the GRF Facilities Reserve Fund to retain a licensed architect to prepare the necessary construction documents and cost estimates for a new Building E, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Do I have a motion to bring this forward? Mickey, second from John. Discussion.
I thought we just did.
Well, I'm sure there's more,
There-
especially from the floor.
Yes, there are several. So we'll start with Ira Lewis.
But Carmen had his hand up, so I want to make sure.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Ira, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Good morning. I'm going to modify a little bit what I had to say, because much of what I had to say was here, except for the alternative. It's not really ever been considered. You talk about building costs, but never building maintenance. There's zero maintenance right now for rental. We're not maintaining that building. It's maintained within the rent. Office buildings are the most expensive to maintain. We don't need 2 office buildings. If you were to build a field house on the empty lot next door, move all the resident services right now that are recreation from this building, you know, the clubs, to that building, you have more than enough space for VMS to do whatever they want to do in the entire building, and it would solve a lot of problems of a mixed-use office building. Field house is cheaper to build, cheaper to maintain, and is something for the people to use. It can have meeting rooms that, with sliding walls. We're always short of meeting space. And that's something that would address as well. I think just the cost of the two is going to be dramatically different. The maintenance of the two, a field house versus a second unnecessary office building, is just too much. And yes, this has been turned down twice by the mutuals, another building E, and we really don't know how much these things, do we have a cost of how much a field house would cost right over here? No, you don't. It's just been ignored. So it's a viable alternative, and it needs to be talked about before you move ahead with this, because it would also, like I said, solve the problems of having this as a mixed-use building. It's an office building. Keep it as such. Take everybody else out, put them over there in a new facility for the people at a lower cost and a lower cost to maintain. I wish I was here earlier when this started to come up, but unfortunately not.
We all do, Ira.
But there are, I mean, if you want to spend money, you can spend money on something that's going to save money. GRF spends $1.25 million a year on electricity. You could, as a capital project, put in Clubhouse 5 parking lot carports over the whole thing with solar panels on top, just like hospitals and high schools do. And you can add the new high-density zinc-based batteries and end up with a disaster center where people could go if we have a fire, if we have a blackout, if we have any kind of thing where people need to go.
I'm looking at Steve Parsons behind you going, good
Yeah.
idea, Steve.
Yeah, so there's a lot of other alternatives if you want a capital project to save money as well as do something for the people. And I urge you to look at a field house if you want to build another building before you build another office building that has that maintenance and cost to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ira. Appreciate all your thoughts. Anybody else?
Yes, there are several. There's a letter I'm going to read, and then following will be Jim Hopkins in person. The letter's from Virginia Page, and they stated, excuse me, the proposal to allocate $336,500 from GRF reserve funds to develop a plan for a new building E is a misuse of reserve funds and raises serious financial and governance concerns. Reserve funds are intended to protect the long-term financial stability of our community, not to fund speculative planning for a project that has already been rejected twice by the corporate members, United, Third, and Towers. Moving forward with this request disregards those decisions and undermines the governance process. From a financial standpoint, this is not a prudent use of funds. At the March 31st Finance Committee meeting, cost estimates ranged from $4 million to $9 million, an unacceptable level uncertainty for a project of this scale. Just 2 years ago, the estimate was approximately $8.5 million. Today, $9 million or more is far more realistic, and that does not include furnishings or relocation costs. Based on the 75% cost overrun on the Clubhouse 2 remodel, the final cost is likely to be significantly higher. Staff identified for Building E include security and landscape maintenance, both primarily field-based functions, not office-based roles. This raises critical questions that should be addressed before any funding is approved. It is also important to note that experienced leadership, including a former GRF treasurer, a United president, and members of the Space Utilization and Planning Committee have consistently opposed this proposal as financially imprudent and unnecessary. Approving this request would expose GRF to significant financial risk and set a concerning precedent for the use of reserve funds on projects lacking approval and broad community support. The board must uphold its fiduciary duty to protect and preserve GRF's reserve funds and to respect prior decisions made by the corporate members. Building E should not move forward. The existing condemned structure should be demolished. Existing space within the administration building and clubhouses should be reconfigured for shared use, and leased space should only be utilized after all internal options have been fully exhausted. And then next, in-person speakers, Jim Hopkins.
Jim?
Thank you all. I mean, this has always been a tough subject,
Oh, as you know.
as I know, yes. But I wanted to just remind all of us that, and I thank you, Director Holmuth, the reserve fund is a savings account. And that savings account has always considered a replacement of that building over there. Whether it's been moved into an allocation or not, that's a whole nother thing. So I think sometimes that we often, in our enthusiasm, confuse an allocation, which is just an annual move forward. We confuse that with actual what's in the reserve. So when you put money in, like the $4 million, you're just moving it forward. It was always considered as part of a replacement reserve. That's the other thing is the Austin study did take a look at what if we moved everything here. I don't know if you've seen it, but we spent $50,000 for that. There have been a couple of other studies. They all said, yes, you can move everything in here. Guess what? Table tennis loses 6 tables, archery goes away, shuffleboard goes away, and there were several other things that impact residents. So when we say to ourselves that I'd rather do something for residents, space, if you take away space, the impact is residents. It's not just because it happened to be space for staff. So I just want us to consider all of that stuff. The community center, I heard that it was designed for administration. No, it wasn't. All right? When it was put together in 2002, that table tennis area was specially built for table tennis. Better lighting, wooden floors, all kinds of things strictly for table tennis. Same thing with the wiring in the computer center, the PC and Mac. It was wired that way from the beginning. So when we say this is an administrative building, it was called community center for a reason. Now, we can change it, but we need to be cognizant that's what we're doing. The other thing is just understanding the reserves. Oh, by the way, some of the departments that were moved out of Building E have been able to relocate here. So it's not one for one. So if security is over in, say, a new Building E, it still has additional space for security. So I just want to just correct some of maybe the impressions there. Space planning, I mean, we considered a lot of things. And so a lot of the things that are coming up now are about alternatives. Should have been brought forward when we did all the space planning. We've got to move on with this. It's been over 12 years trying to figure out whether or not we should build a building or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Next speaker is Marie Collins.
Hi, Marie.
First, a question. I presume, well, not really a question, I'll just presume. I presume that for the board to adopt this motion today, it is not saying we're going to build a building. But there's been all these questions. How are you going to decide between this option and this option if we don't have a drawing that the board does accept? So I am presuming there'll be more than one option that comes out of this contract. Contracting for a design and also assume we do not have a design person as an employee of VMS to do this. So somebody needs to do it. Okay. So if this board adopts this motion today for us to see what kind of designs could we have, and then we'll choose it, and how much is it going to cost, I would beg you to put into the contract that the reason for building this building is to put employees of VMS in there to do things that benefit our residents. Okay, that's why we're doing it. Otherwise, why would we be doing it? Mm-hmm. Okay, a site, Clubhouse 1. We need to say a level of design that we need. This is being built for utility purpose, for people to get jobs done in there, okay? I don't want to like walk into Clubhouse 1 and see a Taj Mahal type fireplace and then bathrooms that were really, I always thought, really nice bathrooms. Need versus want, or need versus beauty. Okay, the other thing I'd like to speak to are comments from Director Castillo and
Costello.
Barnhart and today, and from
Why is my name so hard?
President Baja the other day at the finance meeting.
So hard.
Comparisons need to be made. Well, let's say we do this and we get a design, we figure out how much that design will cost. That's when you can compare. What would modular facilities cost? What would it, you can we can keep people in the rented places for more than 30 years for the amount we do this. What would it cost if what they have now is not sufficient? What would it cost to build it out? You can do contracts with that. The other thing is we need to compare, I think, we need to compare whatever design the board accepts, what's the cost, what's the benefit, keeping the rental over here, modular designs, one that Director Manny from BMS suggested, a contractor that does this type of building on a low-cost situation,
Marie?
and what facilities do we have?
Marie?
I know we've done this before,
Speaker
but it
time is
needs
up.
to be compared. That's my deal.
Thank you.
Next speaker is
Thank you, Marie.
Richard Rader.
Hello, Dick Rader.
Hi, Dick.
Hi. I hear a bunch of people saying that we should make this a staff-only building. Jim touched upon it, but I want to give you a more specific example of how this can negatively impact residents. One of the proposals was to take the PC and the Mac learning centers, combine them, and move them over, I believe, to Clubhouse 1. That's a designated area. It no longer becomes a rentable space. And we now have, as I understand it, we have enough trouble trying to meet the rental needs of all the clubs and the residents. It just makes the problem worse. It has a negative impact on residents. So I'm suggesting, I believe you should move forward with this and just get the job done.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Robert Muchnick.
To make this, thank you, first of all, for all your efforts related to this. I'm going to speak very briefly in favor of this motion. I think it's time we quit kicking the can down the road, because that's what we've been doing for years and years, and the costs just keep going up. It's time we just made a decision.
Thank you.
And then final speaker is Cynthia Rupert, and she's on Zoom, so let me pull her in right now to allow her to speak. Okay, Cynthia, are you able to speak? You're unmuted, but we're unable to hear you.
Cynthia, we can't hear you. Hello?
Okay.
Is anybody out there?
She's reconnecting to her audio.
Okay.
Okay, try. Let me see.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, now we can.
Finally.
Just a little louder.
That was like pushing about 20 buttons on my tablet here till I found one that worked. I guess I did.
Little louder.
Good afternoon, or everybody, and I know this has always been a very difficult discussion regarding replacing this building, but as you've had numerous people come up and comment It has been many years, and it keeps rolling on, and it just keeps rolling on. And as that happens, costs for construction go up, costs for materials go up, costs for rent goes up. Everything is going up, up, up. And if we want to be as cost effective as possible, we really need to get moving on this, and we need to push it forward quickly and effectively. The idea that we can use some of the building that we're in, the administration building or not, this has been gone over almost every single year for the last 8 or 9 years, or we've had so many different assessments, reports, people coming in and doing analysis, and the money that we have put into that would have gone a long way towards helping build a building. Over and over the years, I do not know what that total cost is, but it has got to be somewhat significant. And the rent that we're paying for the building next to us is that. It is rent. There is no value. There is no long-term value. There is no asset value. It is money being burned. And the rent is going to continue to go up, just like other costs. So I really think it's time to move forward. I'm asking you and hope that you will approve this and push forward to get the ball rolling. For me, it's the sooner, the better, because the costs will stay lower the sooner we do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Point well taken. Anybody else have any thoughts? Nobody? Okay, I have one last comment. And that is that we have mixed thoughts of what we are all talking about, whether to have a building, another building which looks like building E, or we have a building that would do a lot of recreation, which is for the residents, and this and that. Why don't we put this off for a month or two, let the space committee work on this and come back with a solid idea, because we need to think about the administration building, the building E, the staff in the rental space, and all these different things. These are like so many balls that we are juggling. And I assure you that in the next month, 2 months that we assign to get this decision done correctly, we should have a good idea on that.
It's out of order, I think, procedurally. The motion is on the floor.
We can table it.
No.
That is.
Chris, point of order.
Point of order, yeah.
I would call for a vote. Yes. I would call for a vote. And the reason is.
This is something that you can settle upstairs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, modular buildings and things like that, they're already.
I'm not asking for anything.
They're already in that budget, in this budget. So I think we should call for a vote.
Okay, call for a vote and vote. But we were just trying to get this done once. We will have a mixed vote here, and
Absolutely.
okay, so go for it. Vote what you like.
I see that Martin just joined on Zoom. Let me get his vote.
Martin?
If he was listening in. Yes, 1 second.
Top of the morning, Martin, or afternoon, wherever he is, London.
Test 1, 2, hello?
Hi, Martin. We can hear you. The board is currently voting right now on the Building E item. Do you want to provide your vote for that?
Oh, gosh, I know what, had my hand up wanted to add to Cush's comments.
Martin, vote. Martin, we're beyond
but I guess
discussion.
it's too late for that now, huh?
Yeah,
Just vote.
Yes,
We've
I
been
see
talking for an hour now.
Well, okay.
So if you cannot see the screen, I can read it to you.
No,
It's fine. If
doesn't
he
need
just
to
wants
know.
to, would you like to abstain since you just jumped into the conversation?
If you could just reread the motion.
To approve a supplemental appropriation of $336,500 from the Facilities Reserve Fund for Building E design plans and specifications.
Okay. I vote no.
Well, it was a mixed vote.
Like I told you. So the motion passes. We have 5 against 4 and 0 abstain. So, okay, next. Next item, entertain a motion to approve supplemental appropriation of $38,000 for the
PAC.
GRF Facility Fund to replace the theater curtains at the Performing Arts Center. Here.
To save time, if you guys would like to just, when reading the resolution, just read the now therefore be it resolved portion, just because it's almost at noon and we still have several items to go through.
Read the resolution.
Just read the whereas at the bottom.
I will.
Okay.
Resolution 90-26-XS, Performing Arts Center Theater Curtain Replacement Supplemental Appropriation Request. Now therefore be it resolved, April 7, 2026, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves a resolution to approve a supplemental appropriation of $38,000 from the GRF Facilities Fund to replace the theater curtains at the Performing Arts Center auditorium with new fire retardant curtains. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
I move that we accept the resolution.
I second it.
There are 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Okay,
4 seconds.
so shall we, do we need a discussion?
Do we need a discussion?
We better buy them because if we don't, our insurance will go up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We saw the condition of them last week, and it definitely needs.
The point is the cost of replacing them versus the cost of fixing them and fireproofing them is virtually the same. And in the long run, it's better if we do replace them for the same amount of money.
I would agree with that. So please vote.
Oh, no, that was fast.
Okay.
I also have Martin's vote. He votes no.
Martin, you still there?
Yeah, he provided his vote via Zoom chat.
Okay, great. Okay, I think the
Interesting vote.
vote carries forward. Number C, I think we have to speed up a little bit. Entertain a motion to approve supplemental appropriation of $113,671 from the equipment fund to replace 6 utility vehicles to be offset by closing 4 existing appropriations. What does that mean?
They're taking.
Jose's here, he might be able to tell us.
They're taking 4 out of commission.
Perfect. Yeah, so we hear you loud and clear, right? It's about, we don't want to bring in new appropriations to you or those kinds of things. So what we're doing is we have currently money appropriated for some vehicles. We don't need those kinds of vehicles, or we have some money left over. We want to take that money and instead buy what we really need, and we desperately need right now are going to be these 6 utility vehicles. There is a slight correction on that number. It's a little bit lower than that. 102,955. Your staff reports are correct, but that front page didn't
Good
get
job,
updated.
Jose.
So I
We like
apologize for
that part.
That's on the resolution.
And so again, you're going to be closing a couple of other items, so it'll be a net 0 for you.
Fabulous.
Shall we read
wanna read
the
the
resolution?
Yes, please.
Resolution 90-26-XX supplemental appropriation for the replacement of 6 utility vehicles. Now therefore be it resolved on April 7, 2026, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the replacement of 6 mules to be funded through a supplemental appropriation of $102,955 from the equipment fund, and resolve further that the officers of this and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
I move that we accept the resolution.
Thank you. Without further ado, should we just vote? Do we?
Yes,
Yeah,
my
they'll come up.
apologies, I'm just typing it in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I have Martin's vote as well.
Good timing, Martin. Did my thing go through? Yeah. Okay. The next item is,
Motion passes.
motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next item, D, is entertain a motion to approve supplemental appropriation of $410,000 from the equipment fund to replace 2 buses.
So I want to talk about this one. First of all, thank you for approving the new route to the Arbor this morning. So thank you for that. Look forward to seeing everyone on Monday when we're going to be having our first run. But in all, you have 8 routes that you do. You have 5 residential, 4 residential, 1 journey, and 3 commercial routes. And in order to be able to do these 8 routes, we currently have 13 buses. Of the 13 buses that we have, 4 of them are diesel, and they're our oldest buses, and the remainder are gasoline. Now, our diesel buses are constantly being worked on. There's repairs that have to be made on them, and this is something that goes on and on. One of the issues that we have is that they have to pass a carb inspection similar to a smog inspection, but for diesel vehicles, and they constantly have their check engine lights come on. In fact, I took a look at out of the 4 diesel buses that you have, in the past 2 weeks, 3 of them have had their check engine lights come on. So in the past 2 weeks, can you believe that? 3 out of these 4, they're just constantly on. In order to be able to pass our carb inspections, which are currently required every 6 months, but in 27 they'll go to every 3 months. You have to drive them, you have to let them cool down, you have to drive them past the speed of about 45 miles an hour, let them cool down. You have to go 6 cycles on that. So we're currently paying our bus drivers to go out on the freeway, drive them around, and kind of clear these things out. That's what we have to currently do constantly. In addition to that, you have in your report kind of an idea of how often they break down and the cost on all of these. So what we're looking at, and I understand that it's a big appropriation, $410,000, but we're doing things differently than we have before, and that's the whole goal. Where instead of taking these 4 diesel ones that are always breaking down, we want to replace them with 2. And the advantage there is that it would currently cost you about $50,000 to maintain these 4 diesel vehicles because they're old and constantly breaking down, in addition to having to have them driven around. But when we replace them with only 2 new ones, the cost would only be about $5,000. So you're saving significantly there. Additionally, these are some of the vehicles that you have full coverage on. And we would go from having 4 to 2, another savings of about $17,000. In all, you're saving on a yearly basis $68,000. So that's what we can expect to save on a yearly basis. That's why this resolution makes sense, and it's different than anything that's come before. This isn't a standard replace what we need. We're going from 4 to 2 and doing it that way. And the question's been asked, well, don't you plan for these things? Yes, they were included in last year's proposal, but as you know, there was a moratorium placed on all vehicle purchases. So happy to answer any more questions for you.
If we don't have any, or do we?
Are they electric or are they gas?
They're going to be gasoline. The electrics are about 2 to 2.5 times more, and we need infrastructure and a lot of changes.
12D.
Okay. If there's,
Well, we have to get the resolution on.
yeah. Yes, John.
Will this impact the availability for riders to get where they want to go?
No, and that's one of the things that we were really looking at is, finding out, are we right-sized? And we have so many buses for a relatively small amount of routes. We have 13 buses to do 8 routes because they're constantly down. This will let us right size. It'll get us down to 11 to be able to do those 8 routes.
Okay, if there's no questions, then Carmen.
Resolution 90 dash, I keep forgetting that. Resolution 90-26-XX, supplemental appropriation for the replacement of 2 buses. Now therefore be resolved on April 7, 2026, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the purchase of 2 buses to be funded through a supplemental appropriation of $410,000 from the equipment fund, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation
So if it's, please go ahead and vote.
Jose, what happens to the old buses? Do we just sell them off?
Okay, but it,
Motion carries.
Okay, motion carries. Next.
Moving on.
All right. Last of the motions. Entertain a motion to approve the revised trust facility fee resolution to formally incorporate GRF's existing waiver and refund policies. April initial notification, 28-day notification for the member, review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360. Does everybody know what that is?
Yes.
What we are talking about?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Carmen?
So we'll read the resolution 90, the resolution 90-26-XX, the trust facility fee from $7,500 to $10,000. And I'm going to go to,
wow, that's a long one.
There's a lot of resolve further here.
It's the third paragraph at the very top of the first page.
Resolve further, the trustees, the trust facility fees will be fixed amount as provided herein as determined from time to time by the trustee of the Golden Ring Foundation Trust. The entirety of each such fee when and used as paid by the purchaser shall be deposited into the trust facility fee fund and shall be applicable to all such transactions. And further resolve that when
Sorry to interrupt. It's
Yeah.
the one right above this. So it's
Now let
the
it be
now
resolved.
therefore be it
now
resolved.
therefore be resolved. May 5, I stand corrected, 2026, that the trustee of the Golden Rain Foundation Declaration of Trust recorded March 6, 1964, and the board will impose a fee to be known as the trust facilities fee in accordance with all terms and conditions contained in this policy and in Civil Code 4580 on all transactions involving the purchases of separate interest in any of the trust stores, common interest developments, United, Mutual, and Third Mutual, and Laguna Woods Mutual 50, each of which is herein referred to as trust store within the city of Laguna Woods as an obligation of the purchaser, effective January 1, 2026, for purposes of determining effective date, purchase contracts entered prior to January 1, 2026, in which escrow opens before January 1, 2026, and closes on or before March 31st, 2026, are deemed transactions occurring prior to the effective date. That's it.
Wow, there's a long thing.
So nothing else has changed for purposes of, my understanding is nothing about this has changed, other than the fact that we are taking our trust facilities fee up from $7,500 to $10,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So,
We have staff here to clarify.
Thank you. Because there's a lot of whereases and resolved there.
Yeah,
folks.
we're not, this is strictly about the refund waiver policy. We're combining the refund waiver policy with the trust facility fee.
Right.
So that's, we're not changing anything with the fee itself. So this is about accepting the combined two different policies to one to make it easier to distribute and explain to staff and agents and realtors throughout the community. So that is the whole purpose of this for today.
Got it.
thank you.
Director Rosa has a question.
Question I have is, we still have the scalable trust facility fee of anything below 200,000 is
Yeah.
different than above, right?
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, still in place. Can we move to the next step?
So I move that we accept the
second.
resolution as presented.
Okay, Mickey second. All right, is it time to vote? Okay, go ahead. Okay,
Thank you, Martin. I
Moving.
have your yes vote.
moving right along.
I think we just need Yvonne's vote.
Use your finger.
If it's not working, do you just want to let me know yes or no, and I can submit it? Perfect, we have it.
You have to hit it 5 times.
That's 5 votes.
You're stuffing the ballot box.
Okay, this thing passes. So this is now the end of all the activity. We are supposed to take a 5-minute break, but instead, what we will do is we will just report on our finance committee report, and after that, we will, then we will recess. Yes.
So we won't be doing
The
the
other
committee
report.
reports.
The other reports.
So do we have a slide, please? Yes. Thank you.
Mickey, this is your first report, isn't it?
I know. Right. Thank
Good
you. All right. Treasurer's report for April 7th, today, board meeting. The first table displays the operating fund activities, which excludes non-operating revenues, expenses, and depreciation. The report shows a favorable variance of $67,000 at the bottom on the right-hand side through the reporting period, with non-assessment revenue being worse than budget by $106,000, third row, combined with total expense better than budget by $173,000. Next slide. This slide shows our most significant operating fund variances by category, with the green ones, favorable variances to budget, and orange bars representing unfavorable items. I think you can read all the different kinds of category, which are the favor and not favorable. So employment compensation, so on, are favorable one, but golf green fees and repairs and maintenance, the unfavorable ones are. And the reason why, well, you can look at to the report, right? So let's go on to the next slide. Well, this slide shows sources of revenue other than assessments, such as fees and rentals. Year to date, we earned $1.8 million in non-assessment operating fund revenue, as shown on this pie chart. We can see that our largest revenue category is broadband services, which means internet, set-top boxes, and insertion and premium channels, so on, followed by golf revenue, clubhouse rentals, and event fees, other revenue, which includes electric vehicle charging revenue, additional occupancy fees, equestrian center fees, and RV storage fees, among others. Merchandise sales and class fees. These revenue categories offset costs and help keep assessment down, which is good news. Let's go to next slide. Our largest operating fund expense was employee compensation, as you see, and related, followed by insurance, professional, and legal fees. Of this $7.9 million, excluding depreciations, these two categories account for 67% of the total operating expense. Cable programming and franchise fees, repairs, maintenances, outside service, etc., make up the remaining 33%. Next slide. This table displays the reserve fund activities, which excludes operating revenues and expenses. This report shows an unfavorable variances of $441,000 through the reporting period, which non-assessment revenue worse than budget by $517,000, combined with total expense better than budget by $76,000. The unfavorable variance in revenue was due to less manors sold, resulting in less trust facilities fee revenue collected than anticipated. I asked the finance director, and also he consulted with the resident service. This is not our only problem. Outside market has the same problem. I was wondering if our facility fee has been increased. There is a reason why it's been decreased. However, it is not the case. Let's go to slide 6. We have a slide here to show resale history from 2024 to 2026. As you see, I just explained it. January 26, February 26 was down compared to the previous years. And, again, the market has the same problem as of now. That's what I was told. Okay, and slide 7, the reserve and restricted funds adjusted balances are shown here. And starting with the first column on the left, reserve funds have a combined ending balance of $40.3 million, right? Restricted, that's what I was referring to earlier. And restricted fund balances have an ending balance of $2.8 million. Included in these totals are contributions received in 2026 through assessments and trust facilities fees and investment earnings. The second column shows a work in progress of $10.6 million for reserves and $0 for restricted, reflecting the amounts paid for projects not yet combined. As you see, $10.6 million is related to mostly Ting project. And the third column represents the resulting adjusted fund balance of $29.6 million for reserves and $2.8 million for restricted. Next slide. This listing on this slide gives you an idea where the reserve money is committed. Of the $32.6 million appropriated by the board for various projects and equipment purchases, the remaining encumbrance against our reserve funds is $19.5 million, primarily for fiber improvements and work at the GRF facilities. Slide 9, we compare our adjusted fund balances to historical balances for the past 5 years on this next chart, which shows that GRF has averaged $35.8 million in reserve funds and $3.3 million in contingency fund. Okay, I think that will be the end of the slides. And we had, our audit committee finished our work last Friday, so all three mutuals and GRF approve the audit report. So that is done, right? Okay. Any other report that I need to do? I don't think so. That will do it. And the budget will start. Is there any question? And he's right there, so.
Okay. Is there any comments on this? I guess? No. So with that, I think we will take a recess.
Is this a recess or are we going?
Recess?
Yeah.
The open session is recessing, and you guys will reconvene in closed session
Correct. I was
upstairs.
just,
So we don't get to make any member comments, is that what you're telling me?
director's comments. Oh,
that's right.
You sure can. Sorry, if you want to. Let's start with Brad.
Oh, anything. The meeting is over.
Oh, we're done with the whole thing?
We're done with the open.
No comments.
You?
Well, I have a comment.
Okay.
I would like to, oh dear.
Mark, you're laying in bed, aren't you?
Please. I appreciate all the thoughtful comments that everybody made. And on the lighter side, I'd like to say congratulations to the Laguna Woods Senior Clown Alley,
Wow.
who won a trophy at the local Newport Beach Patriots Day Parade. So congratulations to them. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Okay, Carmen?
I'd like to thank the staff and the board for cooperative work today. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeannie?
Well, number one, I know Building E has been a hotly discussed topic, and thank you for all the civility and thoughtfulness in the room today, because those conversations have gotten pretty heated previously, and they weren't pretty. So thank you. Cooler heads prevailed. We came up with a good decision, number one. Number two is thank you, big shout out. Last week, we had a director's bus tour of the GRF facilities. The reason we did this was to give our new directors, myself included, an overview of all the things that we are supposed to oversee. And we felt it was very important that people actually see and understand what they're voting for, against, or about. It was wonderful, and I would like to give a huge shout out to Catherine for taking literally the entire day and trying to herd cats. She was fantastic. She kept us on time. And really, I know she gave up an entire workday for this. So appreciate her very, very much. And I think that was part one. We decided that we saw so much and learned so much, and we saw only half of the entire community, that we're going to ask her to do it again. Carlos, I'll let you tell her that. Anyways, thank you, Catherine, for all of your help.
Go ahead. Nikki?
Oh, well, again, I really feel that we have a good team, and so we can disagree each other. However, our discussion are very, very serious and considerate, and I am feeling very good. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
The learning process goes on, and it's great working with this group of people who can disagree but agree in the end without confrontation.
And John again.
I concur with Jeannie on thanking Catherine and the team for allowing us to go see and understand what we have to administer and oversee. That was a wonderful, wonderful tour. And I think we've got a great team here that can disagree but agree at the end. Good team.
I did have one last question.
Sorry?
I did have one last question. Are we going to go with Mission Revival or Spanish Revival?
A combination, apparently.
Don't know yet. Martin, you have any comments?
Cheerio, jolly good. No worries. Yeah, about Building E.
It's done, it's over.
Building E does not have to be built where Building E is, okay? That's just going to say that because that foundation is very sketchy and it's going to be costly. Hats off to the team group for the ramp up in their as to what occurred over this past week. Very impressed. I see our with our dip in reserves that we see from 25 to 26, our broadband dollars are hard at work, and I think they're doing really well. And just wanted to thank them.
Thank you, Martin. Lastly, I think we all deserve a pat on the back. We're all doing very well. And agree with you about Catherine, but this is still just the first one. We have another one to go. And poor Catherine was working till late that evening because I received emails at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. So I thank her very much for that. So with that, if you guys are ready, we can go and get some lunch.
It's currently 12:15. What time would you like closed session to start? 12:30, 12:45?
It's too early to know.
Do we have appointments?
Well, we have to let staff know what time as well as legal counsel, so I always send an email letting them know. So
It's
it's helpful to
12:15
have a
right
time.
now. Let's put it at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
No, 12:45. Yeah.
That, okay, if that's, all right, we can continue eating. if
Okay,
you want.
12:45. Thank you.
Tally ho.
Bye, Martin.
Martin, we'll see you soon. Are you joining us for closed?